So I promised in class yesterday to show you how to add a grid to a photo in Procreate because we were using gridding in class for drawing. So I wanted you to be able very quickly and easily, if you have an iPad and you have Procreate, you can very quickly put a grid on top of an image and print it. So I was going to show you how to do that. So this is my Procreate app here in the top left of the square. This is just at my screen. I've just got so yours won't look the same. I just have all my art apps in a particular folder. So I have the Procreate one there. So I'm just going to open Procreate. And this, let me just switch it. This is the image we used yesterday in class. So this is the one that I printed for us to use, but I changed the lines to green. At the moment, they're black. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very quick. It's very easy. You can't see my finger because I'm actually sharing my iPad screen to my computer. So it's just showing you the screen. I tried to do it earlier so you could actually see the whole iPad on my fingers, but there was too much reflection. You couldn't see the grid properly. So I'm having to do it this way. But so how do you do it? If you look at the top of the screen, you can see that there's a plus sign in the right-hand corner. Right next to it, it says photo. If you tap on photo, it opens your photo library. And once you've got the library, you can just navigate it to find the image that you want to bring in. So I've just brought in the photo. I'm going to use a different one because I'm going to use a bigger one so I can show you a bigger grid because it's quite a small image. So here I've just expanded the image. I'm going to show you a big grid on it. So we have our image in Procreate. It's open. How do we add a grid? It's very easy. You can see a menu across the top. And if you look at the second thing in the menu, it's a wrench icon. If you just tap on the wrench icon, this is where all the kind of quite useful things for sharing, for anything really, for adding. You can also insert a photo. Here, it's just a different way of doing it. But we're going to use the canvas menu. So when that action menu opens, it's the second icon across. So that's the canvas menu, and that will let you manipulate your canvas basically. And we're going to use the drawing guide. So if you look down that menu, it's the fourth thing in the menu. And if you tap on it, it turns blue and a grid appears. You don't have to use the grid that appears. By default, Procreate gives you quite a small grid in pixels, which I never use. So I always edit my drawing guide. So to do that, if you look beneath the drawing guide button, it says edit drawing guide. So beneath the button that's blue, it now says edit drawing guide. You can just tap it. And once you tap it, you get this image. You get this window, and here you can play around with your drawing guide. So if you look beneath the image, there's a menu with 4 things in it. These are just different drawing guides. So the perspective one is quite handy if you like urban sketching. You can use that. I never use the perspective one. I've used the symmetry sometimes, which is quite fun. You can draw half a face and it will automatically draw the other side. But the one I use the most is the grid. So it just gives you a grid over your image. And using a grid is really helpful for accuracy. So at the bottom on the right, it says grid size 1 inch. That's because that's the size I set my grids to. When you do it on yours, it will probably be something in pixels, something like 16 pixels or something. You can change from pixels to inches. So all you do is where this says 1 inch, so where it gives you the grid size, just tap on it. I mean, you can just, if I go back, you can just move that menu to make it bigger. Use that little menu bar, and you can make it bigger just by switching that up and down. But I like to just go into here and change the size to inches. So let's say I wanted it to be, here you have a choice of millimeters, centimeters, inches, or pixels. By default, the first time you do this on yours, it will probably be pixels. But you can change it. So if I want a 2 millimeter grid, get tiny, tiny, tiny squares. If I want a 2 centimeter grid, you get tiny squares. The grid always starts in the middle of the image, and it kind of builds the squares out from the middle. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but there's a little blue dot showing you where the middle of the image is. So you can just change these. So I like a 1 inch grid. So all you do is just click on your unit of measurement and then just click on the number that you want. It now says 21, which I don't want. So I'm going to backspace and I'm going to make it 1. So just tap 1 and you get a 1-inch grid. So if you then press done, it takes you back and you can adjust the opacity. So I adjusted this for class yesterday to a very high opacity. So it was very visible, but you can make it, if you want it to be really light while you're drawing, you can do that. You can also make the lines thick or thin. Again, I made them very thick so that we had a really visible grid. The other thing you can do, which is really important, is right at the top here, you can see this line, which is in like rainbow colors. If you put your finger on that line and move along it, you can change the color of your grid. So yesterday, because we couldn't see the black lines very well, I changed them to a kind of bright green, and I made them really really unopaque and really thick. So you can make them really visible. You can play around with this. It's not, you just literally just move your finger along the menu and it'll show you different colors. So you can find a color that shows up really well. It depends on the color of your image behind. So in this case, yesterday, I thought the green was probably the most visible grid. So then if you tap the tick in the top right to say that you're done, it will then give you the image with the grid on it. So if you print this from Procreate, the grid won't appear. The grid will be invisible. So you can't, if you want to print something with the grid on it, you can't print it directly from Procreate because it's a drawing guide, so it doesn't show up basically when you print. So in order to print it, I always take a screenshot and then I print the screenshot. So to take a screenshot, you basically use one of your volume buttons and the off button, and if you click them both together at the same time, it gives you a screenshot. So you can use 2 fingers, have one on the power button and one on the volume button. Just click them together and you get a screenshot. And the screenshot has now saved. It's disappeared from my screen, but it's there. So then if I go out of Procreate and into images, I should have a screenshot. Oof. I should have a screenshot in my images. There it is. So there's my screenshot and it has the green lines on it. And you can just crop that. It's very easy to crop it. I should have made it a bit smaller so that the side menu doesn't overlap the image. But you can just crop. To crop, again, if you go to the top, you can see a menu. You can see the menu with 3 lines with dots on them. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4th one from the right. If you tap on that, it then gives you a square that you can basically crop. So you get the square, you can go over here and crop. You don't have to, you could just print it as it is, full size. But if you want to crop the edges out, it just gives you a square and you just move the edges in to where you want to crop it. So yesterday I just cropped it into a square. So for the one we were using in class, I just cropped it into a square. And then once you've done that, you can just save it and you can just print it, send it to your printer. So if you tap, sorry, I didn't show you what I was tapping then. I have a wireless printer. So if you tap in the menu on the left, it's the middle one. You can see it's a square with an arrow. That's the share button. If you just tap on that, then in that menu will be print. So just down the menu there, second from the top now, it says print. You can just print it. That's just, you don't have to print it. You could draw from the saved image, but that's how, if you want to move it out of Procreate and have the grid on it, you need to do a screenshot because it just won't show up if you just print directly from Procreate. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any problems and I'll try and help you out.